Back here on the Bobcast, Fielder Dennis with Coach Delane Fitzgerald. Coach, let's jump right into it. How do you feel about your team's performance Saturday?
I thought we were lackadaisical and flat on the road. We were happy to come home with a victory, and boy, was it a hard-fought victory. You know, you're losing at halftime, and the men in our football program showed a lot of character in coming back in the second half and coming back the way we did, and we handled them pretty soundly in the second half. But we were flat. We were flat and unmotivated in the first half for sure.
Talked about you went into the half down 10-3. And you said you handled them in the second half. So what was the message going into the second half for your team?
The message was extremely abrasive in the locker room, Fielder.
Coach, it seemed like the aerial attack was the primary way to penetrate the Montclair defense. Is that fair to say with 300 yards passing?
Yeah, Montclair was putting 8 and sometimes 9 defenders in the box, and we were beating our head against the wall a little bit running the football. And we came out in the second half and threw it a little more than we did in the first half. And Connor showed a lot of competitiveness in the first and second half in the way he competed at the quarterback position. But then the two big competitors on Saturday were Lincoln Awubu and Malik Morris. The way those two young men handled themselves first and second half, but especially in the second half and wanting to win the football game and wanting to go out and win. They wanted to go out and make plays, but you are right. The passing game got us over the hump in the second half.
You spoke about Malik Morris. He had a season high 180 yards receiving. Is he kind of starting to find a groove here late in the season?
No, Malik had over 300 yards receiving in the first 3 games. So he had a little bit of a drop-off the last 2 games, and then he was back on Saturday. Malik has had a phenomenal fall. Great fall. I guess he's blocked 4 or 5 kicks now. Some he's gotten credit for and some he hadn't because he got a finger on him and people didn't give him the block kick. But he's blocked a bunch of kicks for us this fall and made a bunch of big catches. We knew Malik at Lincoln also, but we knew Malik was a good football player when we recruited him 3 years ago, and he's proven us right now.
Coach, have these, this explosive play from your receiving core, how does it open up the playbook offensively?
When you can throw the ball, and have a mid-range game and be able to throw the ball vertical, it opens up the run game, and the two complement each other because if you can throw the ball over top of people, which we were able to do a couple times on Saturday, then the DBs have to back up and the linebackers have to loosen up, and it allows you to run the ball inside some. But the exact opposite is true. The reason that we've been able to hit some big plays the last couple of weeks in the pass game is because of how well we run the ball, how well we ran the ball starting with the Wesley game. And we're going to continue to run the ball in the middle, and that's what we do. We're going to run the ball up the gut and be tough, hard-nosed football team. And in doing that, it opens up the pass game. The two, Fielder, to answer your question, being able to run the football and being able to throw the football vertically, the two complement each other very well, very, very well.
Coach, on the other side of the ball, it was much the same for the linebackers. How does their experience affect games as we move on in the season?
Just before we get to the linebackers, Carl Igwe. How about that? Carl Igwe. Carl had a nice game rushing the passer and got a sack or 2 on Saturday, and he's doing some good stuff in pass rushing situations. We're still waiting on Carl to come on, but he's a big, good-looking kid and gives good effort, and we think when he figures it out, he's going to be a very good pass rusher for us. But him and Zach Strand getting after the quarterback on Saturday was a plus for us. At the linebacking position, Raekwon Reed finally broke out, had his best game of the season on Saturday, and part of it's this. Raekwon's a senior, and he set out last year with an injury, and he's back this year, so he's starting to find the groove that he had 2 years ago when he was an all-conference performer. And then the other thing is, due to playing with some young guys around him, Raekwon knows that he's got to make a few more plays than he's made in the past, and he did a nice job of that on Saturday.
Coach, what have you seen from your team at this point in the season that you weren't anticipating seeing at the start of this year?
We've got some young guys that are playing really, really well, and I wasn't anticipating that. But on the negative side of things, we're a lot more lackadaisical and complacent than we should be, both offensively and defensively, and we haven't started games real well the last month, and I'm upset about that, and we're going to try to get it fixed this week in practice. So on a positive note, the young players that we have that are running around and playing well, that's been a very, very pleasant surprise, and it's a testament to our coaching staff and our assistant coaches and the players that they're recruiting and bringing into this program. So that's positive. And then on the negative side of things, we've got to be a little more motivated to play football than we've been the last couple of weeks. But we haven't been motivated to play hard since the Wesley game, and that's sad because you only get 9, 10 opportunities most years. 10 this year for us because of the cancellation. We've got 9 opportunities. I want our players to enjoy playing football, and that they need to look forward to football and play a lot harder than we're currently playing on Saturdays.
So you think the slow starts in the beginning of games, that's attributes to the mental side of the game, not so much the physical toll of the season?
I believe that our players have started reading the newspaper clippings and they've started reading the social media posts, and that they think that they're really, really good, and we've lost some of that edge that we've had here in the past, but we're going to get that back this week. It'll be a spirited week of practice for the Bobcats.
Coach, moving to this week, what can we expect from a team that you're pretty familiar with in Southern Virginia?
Familiar with them. Who is Southern Virginia? Spent 8 great years at Southern Virginia, and the administration down there and the young men that I was able to coach down there and the people that I worked with changed my life a lot for the better. So proud of the 8 years that we spent down there, and then we were proud of the football program that we built down there. The next to the last year we were there as a staff, we won 5 games, and then the year after that we went 8-2, and did some things there that hadn't been done before and haven't been done since. But proud of what we accomplished down there. Now on to this year. There are 2 teams in this conference that I think are marketably improved from last year, and one of them is Montclair State. They're playing a lot harder and a lot better than they did last fall, and then the other one is Southern Virginia. Southern Virginia's got some talent. Now, they lack depth at a lot of positions, but their starting 22 players are pretty good football players, and they've got some talent there, and really been impressed with the amount of talent that Edwin and his staff have been able to put together at certain positions. They've got a running back that's a really good football player. They've got a quarterback that does a nice job managing games. They have 3 offensive linemen that we'd like to have, good players that play really, really hard and play really tough, hard-nosed football. And then they flip over on the defensive side of the ball, and they've got the safety. It's been there for 3 years now, and number 7, and he's a real good player, Neil Davis. That they've got another safety that's playing well for them right now, a couple linebackers that'll run to the football and play hard, and then they are really big and strong up front. Their middle linebackers and their defensive linemen are big, strong young men, and they've done a nice job. And they've become sound in the kicking game, so they don't give away plays on special teams like they have in the past. And then I think your next question is going to be, what do we have to do to win? And what do we need to be the most excited team to play on Saturday. That's what we need to do. We need to be excited to practice this week and excited to play on Saturday. And the young men in our football program need to understand what a special fall that we're having right now, and the opportunities that they have that lie in front of them that may not come around again, not in football and not in their life. And we need to be really, really excited about getting better at practice this week, and then be excited about playing 1 o'clock on Saturday. How in the world can you not be excited to play on homecoming in front of 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people?
Coach, final question. Any extra incentive in playing a team that you used to coach for this weekend?
I was a little nervous about it the first couple times we played them. I'm not now. Most of the staff that come with me here from Southern Virginia, they're off coaching at other universities and moved on to greener pastures. So it's just kind of me here now, and I am extremely thankful. I don't know if I can say that enough, and I said it earlier. I'm extremely thankful for what Southern Virginia did for myself and did for my family all of those years, and extremely, how do you say this? I enjoy the memories. I enjoy all the memories of coaching those young men down there. What a bunch of wonderful players we had down there, and I enjoy the people I worked with.
Coach, one of our favorite segments here on the Bobcast, we got some predictions we need from you. Starting with in conference here, Rowan at Salisbury. What are you seeing in that?
Salisbury's at home. I think Salisbury wins in a close, hard-fought football game. Montclair
takes on Wesley, and they're in Delaware at Wesley. What do you see from that game?
There's a big one. Ooh, they're both big. Montclair's at Wesley. Wesley just lost to Rowan last week. I think Wesley bounces back. And I think they play really, really hard at home, because if they lose this week, their season is going to spiral out of control. So I'm taking Wesley at home in another close one.
Some games outside the NJAC. Muhlenberg at Johns Hopkins. What are you seeing in that matchup?
Great football game. A lot of smart kids running around on the field.
I'm
going to be a homer today. I'm taking all the home teams. Let's take Johns Hopkins at home.
Wabash at Wittenberg. What are you seeing in that one?
They're at Wittenberg. I'm taking Wittenberg.
Home teams.
Wittenberg's a good football program. Wittenberg will win that one at home.
Coach, thank you for your time, and looking forward to this weekend.
Thank you all for having me. Go Bobcats.
Back here on the Bobcast, Coach Becky Fletcher. Coach, what are your overall thoughts for this past week?
Oh, it was a tough week. There was a lot of travel. I spent a lot of time on the bus going to Southern Virginia to play a pretty tight and emotional game. It's always an experience walking into Southern Virginia's gym. It's very intimate, and there are a lot of fans, and they're always really rowdy. And it was their senior day, so we got to go and play a pretty intense, exciting volleyball game and came up a little bit short.
Coach, last time we were here, we talked about that ever-elusive fifth set in the St. Mary's matchup. You fell in the fifth set. Can you walk me through that one in particular in that match?
So we got down early by a few points in that fifth set. In a 25-point set, there's a lot more time to make up for some mistakes that you may make early. And unfortunately for us, a few hitting errors early in that set, and just a few really random broken plays that the ball fell really well for them and kind of fell unlucky for us. We just weren't able to bounce back and recover from that one. So in that fifth set, you really have to jump out early, and we kind of have some thoughts and some strategies of things that need to go well in that. Keeping your hitting errors very few is really important. Making sure that you're still playing aggressively enough so that they're out of system and not getting great passes and not keeping their key hitters in the game. And making sure that you're scoring points as well. So I think we played okay in that fifth set. I think that they jumped up on us a little bit early, and we weren't able to recover from that.
Coach, as the season winds down, how important is it for your team to host a tournament game going
my
forward?
Goodness, we would love to be able to host a tournament game. The idea of being on a bus for another 8 to 10 hours in one day on a Tuesday to have to play a volleyball match is not so exciting, and hopefully that's something we can do. If Salisbury beats York and we can beat both Penn State Harrisburg and Salisbury, then we would be able probably to host that first round and have either Salisbury or York come to us, which would be really great for them to have to get off the bus and play us. I think that's a huge advantage in our conference right now, is that having to get off the bus and play, and being a home team is very much an advantage during playoffs.
Looking forward to this week. You have Penn State Harrisburg on Wednesday. What can we expect to see from that team?
Penn State Harrisburg has been sneaking up on some teams and taking away sets, and they beat St. Mary's earlier this season. I think that they're usually very scrappy. They've been getting better every year. Their coach has done a really great job recruiting and bringing in some great athletes. So I expect it to be a little bit of a brawl and a hard-fought victory for us.
Coach, later in the week, you have a quad match with Salisbury and some non-conference opponents. Do you see these non-conference games being so late in the season as a time to experiment with different lineups or ways to attack?
I think that having these two matches after Salisbury on homecoming weekend for us there's a few different reasons why. One, Clarkson and Geneseo are both doing very well this season. Clarkson, I'm pretty sure, is ranked at the top of their conference, as is Geneseo, ranked top of the SUNYAC. So it'll be good for us to get, two tough games to maybe try a few different things going into playoffs. Maybe it's good for us just to make sure that we know that we're playing at our highest level of play going into playoffs. And I'd rather play good teams, and we'd rather have good teams here and have to battle and learn a lot about ourselves and learn a lot about our teams. And I'm excited for this weekend.
Coach, we're excited to see your team play, and good luck.
Thank you.
Back here in the Bobcast, Feeler Dennis with Coach Keith Burns. Firstly, 2 big conference wins this past week. What was working for the team?
I think just confidence goes a long way. We've been playing better recently, even in some of the losses, and I think the guys, they can see, the fruits of their work and practice and what we're putting together coming through on the field. So I think, they know that they're capable of doing some good things here. So those games, the win against Southern Virginia, I think we just did what we were supposed to do, and then the big win against York, we just kind of played to our strengths, which was, defending well, staying organized, and capitalizing on a set piece.
looking at the Southern Virginia game, there were some offensive fireworks to players having hat tricks, and Alfred Kamal and Andre Lucanu. But you spoke in the first half at the interview how you didn't like the way the team was playing necessarily. What changes did you see in the second half?
I thought they played with a little bit more intensity instead of being complacent that they were up 2-0 and kind of already thought the game was over. They actually came out and played well. They moved the ball well. They switched the point of attack. They pressed. They created good chances. Whereas I thought in the first half it was very just kind of lackluster, like, oh, we got the goals and, we don't need to work hard anymore. So I thought they did a good job of just adapting to pretending it was a brand new game and just focusing on playing, good soccer, even though it was something we probably were supposed to do. It was good to see them just do good things out there.
Moving on to the York matchup, it seemed like it was a pretty even contest throughout. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean they probably had a little bit more of the possession at times. And that they were a little bit dangerous on flighted balls and crosses because they were pushing for that goal. But we do what we do, and that's defend and stay pretty collected and organized. And we might not have as many chances, but we've been getting better at making the most of the ones we do get. And we got the goal, and then we just kind of I thought did a good job of limiting their quality opportunities.
On the note of being opportunistic, the Blake Getz flick was the difference in the last game. What about those plays work so well? I see you on most corner kicks and set pieces, you're looking for one of your taller players to win the ball in the air. Is that the design when you get in those situations?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to score goals in soccer, so when you get a chance to just have the ball right in the box on top of the keeper, I mean, that's something, you want to do. Mm-hmm. Make them have to defend it and come out and either, win the cross or the keeper's got to make a play. So you just want to make it as difficult as possible for them to clear the ball out of their box. And if you don't get it on the first one, maybe there's a knockdown. But, we've been pretty solid with that. And, the guys in the back do a good job of attacking the ball when they come forward.
Last question. This is the final game of the season this week against Penn State Harrisburg. Pretty big CAC tournament implications. Have the guys heard that from the staff yet? Is that kind of the mindset going in? Or?
Oh, yeah, they know. I mean, we got to tell them, hey, if you win or tie, you get a home game. And if you lose, then you don't control your destiny. So they know exactly what we need to do. And, winning on the road again in the CAC is never easy, but, we kind of call it a playoff game, even though we know we've got a playoff game on Saturday regardless. But, if we're not home and we have to play 3 road games, we know it's going to be a pretty tough hill to climb. So if we can at least get the first one home and get some confidence going and get a good result, then you only got to win 2 on the road, and that's a little bit more likely. So they know exactly where we're at and what we need to do to get that home game.
Coach, thank you for the time. Good luck this week.
All right, thank you.
Back here in the Bobcast, Fielder Dennis with Coach Brian Parker. Coach, what did you think of your team's performance this past week?
Well, it was sort of like a tale of 2 games, I guess you could say, right? We've struggled with the weekday driving plays, and we took the longest trip of of our conference schedule down to Southern Virginia, and we played okay. We were not awesome. We did have a little bit of a slow start, I would say, but we had the ball a lot. We created good chances. We certainly got off a lot of shots, and obviously Jess Dunnigan had a pretty special day. Partly running and being creative, but a lot of times just being alert, jumping on rebounds and taking advantage of opportunities. Saturday was the opposite. We had an early morning drive and play. We tried to do all the right things with breakfast and stuff, and we just never woke up, frankly. We just weren't ourselves on Saturday, and there's, I've certainly take the blame. There's plenty of reasons for it, I suppose, but we let a more athletic team, really kind of dictate some tempo against us, and didn't create a lot of chances, and learned a tough lesson, I guess.
Coach, do you think seeing Dunnigan get the hat trick and Shahady get 3 assists against Southern Virginia really built some confidence for the team offensively going forward?
Well, I mean, we talked about that as our bounce-back game, and we did some of that, and there was certainly great signs of progress, and you never 100% satisfied as a coach, for sure. I mean, there was certainly a lot of things we could have done better even on Wednesday night. But, yeah, it was absolutely promising, and we were hoping to springboard off of that on Wednesday, and obviously still hope to, this Wednesday. But, we a little bit of a setback over the weekend for sure.
You spoke about the mental side of things in the York game. Is there anything else that you thought was maybe a missing piece from grabbing that conference win?
It's just, to me, it was just about preparation. I think a trademark of our program has always been, focus, determination, sort of will to win, being super competitive. Even if we're not good with the ball, teams can still fly around and have energy and be tough to beat physically and tough to beat defensively. And we just didn't show enough of that, unfortunately, on Saturday. They executed one good quality goal and another on a corner. Both things that I think we could have prevented. Like I said, it's unfortunate. We're kind of searching for answers, going forward, but hopefully we can find some, for Wednesday.
Looking at this week, last game of the season against Penn State Harrisburg, what do you want to see from your team in that matchup?
Well, we need a big mental reset for this week. Another very much like York, frankly, and a little bit like Southern Virginia. We're going to have the ball a ton on Wednesday. We're going to, I think it's kind of interesting when you play really good teams. The performance pressure isn't on you, right? You just get to defend and chase and squeeze space and make things difficult for the opponents. And we're okay in those games. When we actually have to perform and the sort of performance pressure is on us, we need to accept that and relish that and really make good use of the ball and the possessions when we have them, make quality passes, really work hard and run and extend teams and stretch them out. And that's going to be the challenge on Wednesday. So we'll spend 2 days preparing for that.
You kind of answered this previously, but in your opinion, what does your team need to do to make a late season run?
Just, be better with the ball. Show some mental toughness, be a little more stubborn defensively and have energy at the right moments. We're challenging our kids to just really stay positive and be supportive and just try to make sure we do everything we can to just manage the environment around the team and really just kind of be a tough out in our conference tournament.
Coach, thank you for the time. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks very much. Take care.
Back here in the Bobcast, Field of Genius with Coach Brian Christensen. Coach, talk about your team's performance this past weekend.
Hey, thanks, Fielder. Good to be here. We swam really well. I almost expected us to have a harder time than we did in the pool, just based on the training that we've been having, and we haven't really been taking off anything at all. We really just grinding them into the dirt right now. But we raced hard, and I set the expectation that right from the medley relay, I want to step on the gas and not let up till we finished the day, and they did a really good job of that.
Coach, both teams defeating Goucher this past weekend. Who specifically stood out to you in terms of their performance?
So there's a lot of people who won events that we expected to win. There's some people who won events that we didn't expect to win, which is always kind of exciting. And the people who stood out, and I'll highlight a lot of the the winners and the first place people we have a lot of times. But if this team is going to be successful, it's those second, third, fourth place people that are going to carry this team. People like Megan Doyle getting second in the 200 freestyle, coming from an outside lane, getting second on that. I kind of put her, revealing like team injuries. She's been a little injured. I didn't really know how she performed. She just killed it. So I come the outside lane from the C lane, I ended up being the best we had there. Lexi Hancher in the 8 free getting a pretty clutch fourth place for us. Men's side, people like Doug Goodell in breaststroke and freestyle, kind of these great supporting players are how we're going to have success. Adam Stein, a freshman we have, swimming the most possible yards you can swim in a meet, doing the 8 free and the 2 free back-to-back, winning the 8 free, I should say.
Yeah.
And then having having that great supporting role and knowing his role in the 2 free, getting fourth place there. And then doing the 4 free, winning that. And then being on our we went them exhibition, but I think they ended up being a second. I'm trying to remember 4 free now. I think they're second or third place in the 4 free, leading that off. So, these are the supporting players we're going to need to be a team. We can't rest on people just going to win things. We need people getting those second, third, fourths, and we did a really good job of that.
How do you balance? The old saying is the engine is only as good as the sum of the parts. How do you kind of balance that individual time and how players want to, get personal records and whatnot, and also balance, winning these meets, defeating these other teams?
Yeah, and I think that, I was getting a little record crazy, just because our ladies did exceptionally well in the 400 medley, getting that team record by about 6.14 seconds, and I did the math and know exactly how much we beat it by, which is I'm trying to control myself on some of these record swims, and we were pretty close on some other things. And it's I try to be process oriented. you can't just put up in time and say, I want that. You got to say, well, how am I going to achieve that, and what am I going to do? What are the steps that are going to take?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're looking to do every day. Every day I think we'll, especially this week, I know some things about us just holding on to our races. We had some really awful second halves of races.
Yeah.
That tells me we're not quite in shape yet. So we're gonna focus a little bit on that in practice this week.
What can you say about the atmosphere here at Frostburg State in terms of the event being home?
Yeah, I think it's pretty special here. I've worked at a lot of institutions. I don't think any support staff is as good as the Frostburg staff here. It was great to see you guys doing the in-game interviews and stuff like this, the Bobcast.
Mm-hmm.
Just really pumping people up and getting people involved. I think is really cool. And then our parent support is phenomenal. I don't think I've ever had parents this dedicated, which is really, really cool. And then just even the amount of volunteers. I'll talk about Jan Burton and Maria Russo, who are on deck with us. They are not being compensated in any way except for my verbal thank you to them. They're just part of this Frostburg swimming program that have kind of come back and helped just because they really had a great time here and want to give back. And they're just the first of many, many people who are really into this program. And they all contribute to the atmosphere that we're a family, we're cheering each other, and it's really exciting to be a part of.
Your first CAC meet is this weekend. What should we expect to see facing Mary Washington?
Mary Washington is very, very good. They swam an exceptional meet this past weekend. It was against 2 weeks ago they swam Washington Lee, which is a really good school, and they swam York and somebody else. I didn't care about the other team because they weren't a CSC team. I know they swam York. I was looking at their results. And Mary Washington, they did really well. We're looking to stay with them in a couple events. I think that ends up being more individual than team because I think a couple of individuals really will. Our team isn't quite there yet where we're hanging with them. But, yeah, some of our individuals, I think some of our relays, hopefully we could get first or second in relay. I think Mary Washington will fill out the other 5 spots because they had 5 relays this past weekend all the way A, B. We work ABC relays. They had A, B, C, D, E. So we just we can't compete with that right now. I think our A can compete with our A, and they might go the other 4. But we're looking to do really well there.
Coach, looking forward to this weekend and good luck.
Thank you.
Back here on the Bobcast, Fielder Dennis with Coach Caitlin Thompson. Coach, talk about this week's performance for your team.
I thought that our team overall, especially in our midfield and defensive ends, did a really good job holding some tough teams to a limited amount of goals. The Mary Washington game in particular was very good for our midfield and defensive ends. We had a lot of opportunities against them. We just couldn't quite bury it a second time. I think if we would have gotten a second goal, things could have went our way, but it didn't happen. But I'm very proud of the way our defense and midfield played during those games. And then as we went into McDaniel, we had some tired legs. That was our 3rd game in 4 days, so we definitely were a little bit tired, but we came out with some good energy. We played well, kind of dipped in the middle of the game, but came at the last minute or so, we played really good field hockey and ended up scoring that tying goal. So I think, we gave some great effort. The overtime, we had possession majority of the game, just didn't happen to go our way in the end. And then when we went to CNU on Saturday, again, just a really solid performance by our defensive and midfield ends. We gave up 2 goals in the first about 10-11 minutes, and after that second goal, Smizer called our team in and really let them know what we needed to fix, what needed to happen. And after that, we really buckled down. And it was unfortunate that we let up last second goal in the final second of the game. But before that, our defense, and we were just playing very spectacular field hockey on the defensive end against a very tough team.
So it sounds like you're pretty pleased with how your team played this past week.
Yeah, I think so. We're definitely, I think we're a great team all throughout this whole entire season. After games, coaches from other teams are letting us know how impressed they are by our team.
Yeah.
So yes, it stinks that we're not quite showing it on the scoreboard, but I think that our team has really grown a lot over this past season.
So the McDaniel game, that was a really fun game. We were back here watching it, and it was really exciting. But what specifically in that game you spoke about Smizer taking kind of a leadership role there. What specifically kind of did you like seeing from your team playing McDaniel?
I think they did a good job of pushing it out. Like I said, it was our third game in 4 days. So, and that's a very tough thing to ask of a team to play, that amount of time in that short amount of time. And I think that we did a good job of kind of pushing through that. Like I said, our energy level dipped a little bit, especially in the beginning of the second half, but we fought back and got that second goal at the very end of the game off of Holly Van Wee just making an effort play, which was fantastic. So, and then, our defense, not only were they doing a good job in the back, but, Emmy Nelson in particular did a great job of pushing forward into the offensive end and really creating opportunities for our team.
Going against a nationally ranked team in CNU, are there things you can kind of pick up or learn from playing a team that's ranked?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, defensively we played strong. We had to shift some things around because unfortunately we did not have Emmy Nelson for that game, and we had a lot of sickness happening before that game as well. So the fact that we had all of those things happening and we still were able to pull out a solid performance, I think just speaks volumes to our team and our resiliency that we've had this entire season. Like I said, defensively, we were forcing them to take low angle shots, which is why they were only able to put in 4-5 if you count in that last second goal. I think that again, just defensively, we played a solid performance when we made it up into our attacking end, when we were doing our stick-to-stick passing. We were able to get into their circle a few times and earn a corner or earn some nice shots. Holly Van Wee had some good looks, again, just making effort plays, and was able to have at least 2 good looks on the cage. So, we're there. We're making some noise, and we just keep making those effort plays. It's going to fall for us eventually.
Coach, you have a couple more tune-up games until the tournament. Do you see these games as a time to maybe tinker with lineups or game plans at all?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we do not have Emmy Nelson right now, so we've kind of had to inadvertently do that. But, I think by doing that, it kind of makes other people have to step up. Like, we had to shift some people around, and Taylor Hackett played a little bit of our bottom of the diamond, played a little bit of defense, played a little bit of midfield like she normally does, and she, against CNU, really stepped up into each and every single one of those roles and played an excellent game in every place that we asked her to be in. So I think that, that says a lot about a freshman to be able to come into a game against a nationally ranked team and play some positions that she's not normally used to playing, and just take over a game. So that was definitely impressive just to see who was stepping up in those games.
Coach, you play York on Thursday. What can we expect to see from them?
York is a team that has just a very dynamic offense. They're able to put in a lot of goals against people. So we'll be looking again for our defense to really step up against them. But, I think that they have some weaknesses in their defensive end that we can kind of take advantage of if we, make those effort plays like I was just talking about with Holly Van Wee and with Gabby Rahuba, if other people around them step up. I think that we can be able to score the goals that we need to score in order to win that game.
Should we look to see maybe some counterattacking off of the York attack from the offensive side of things?
Yeah, I think that if we look to do that and we look to attack together and we really look all of us go together as a team and play the way we know how to play and just get gritty inside the circle, we can definitely force some York to be a little uncomfortable.
Coach, where do you want your team to be, whether mentally or physically? Where do you want them to be heading into the tournament?
I want them to be kind of resilient, and I want them to kind of just have confidence and believe in themselves. Obviously this isn't a place that we've been in a few years, and just to have fun with it and take advantage of this opportunity. Because again, this isn't a place that teams in the past have been in. So just really make the most of this opportunity and put it all out there on the line, and do what we can do to get hopefully a conference win.
Coach, thank you for your time. Good luck this week.
Thank you.